as far as a healthy competition, a positive competition, and to strive to get better, you know what I mean? It's not, I'm not talking about a competition from like, oh, let's destroy each other and push each other down. No. Like I said, you compare yourself in a way where it's like, wow, what would it take for me to get that good? What would it take for me to create music like a J. Cole or a Joyner Lucas? And you start having these ideas. When you compete at that level, you bring forth the best in you because you want to compete at that level. If you didn't want to compete, then you just be like, oh, I'm just going to do me. And there's nothing wrong with that. But how are you going to get a sense of a gauge of where you are and where you want to go? You know what I mean? That's my 2 cents.
I hear you. It makes sense. It does.
Yeah.
It should be.
It's
It
that
should be
sense of,
to build us up. Sometimes it's not, but it should be for that.
right. And like you said, I mean, music nowadays, we're talking about the minority. We're talking about people who are making really good music, and that's not the majority. The majority are, you know, it's songs about debauchery and doing, you know, and not living a very positive life and doing crazy stuff. So it is what it is. And the funny thing is, everybody will admit to you that the music is talking about these things, and they don't really align with what the music is saying. Yet their whole playlist is full of like these songs. It's weird. I don't understand it at all. You know, I'm a person
Not
that
mine.
I'm very transparent. Not yours, but most
like,
people are just.
Yeah, I've been making like old 90s music lately, like old R&B and soul records lately, just because I don't hear anything coming out that makes me feel like lovely. And so I wanted to make something that I could listen to that makes me feel soft and beautiful. So I make it myself. But that's not for competition, but it's very therapeutic, and it still makes me a better musician. But I'm comparing it to my old work, how I used to be.
Right.
So it's nice to compete with your older self, your younger self.
That's super important. Super important, for sure. If you're not trying to get better, I wrote a tweet the other day. It said, the only way to become the person you want to be is for the person you are today to die. You have to evolve. And every time you rise from the ashes, you have to be better until you get to the point where you are the person that is capable of achieving that goal you want, you know, and it's just improving. But the problem with improving is you have to sacrifice who you are today for who you want to be tomorrow. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that. It's hard to admit that who you are today. Yeah, it's hard to admit that who you are today isn't enough. And some people kind of like attach to that identity of, oh no, but I like who I am. Well, if you like who you are today, imagine how much you would like yourself tomorrow when you're capable of achieving this goal.
It's true.
That's the mentality you have to have, right? That's the mentality you have to have. You know what I mean? So,
and maybe you're not changing, but you're definitely adding to your foundation. So you could be a pocket knife with one blade, or you could have the pocket knife that has all the different types of tools that come out of it. It's still the same pocket knife, just has adaptations on it.
Definitely. Most people, when they see change, when they hear change, they think automatically of like negative things. When I hear change or transformation, what I think is stripping away everything that's not essential, stripping away everything that's weighing you down, that doesn't serve you, that is hindering you from going on that path that you want to take, and just getting to your core. Who are you? You know what I mean? Like, this is you. You aren't that person who has all these terrible habits. You're not this person who gets into those arguments. You're not this person who gossips. You're not this person, even though you might have done these things, but that's not you. Those are negative tendencies that come out when you feel a certain type of way internally. So let's strip all that away. And that's what changes. It's stripping all that away until we get to the core of you. And then when you have the core of you of who you really are, which, let me tell you, self-discovery is never ending. I mean, I'm 30 years old and I'm still learning things about myself. So once you get to the core of you, that's when you can start building. And that's when you become a different person. You know what I mean? You replace those negative habits with positive things. You know, you find out things about yourself you didn't know. Maybe you find out you love horseback riding, or you love hiking, or you have a love for art. You know, you'll find out you want to write a book. You find out things about yourself. You got to give yourself the chance, you know?
I agree. I do a lot of self discovery when it's quiet. Quiet time, just not having the phone on, being completely off of the
Mm,
grid. That's where I've done a lot of self discovery. And I've asked a lot of people if they've done that lately, and they don't. They don't stop. They can't take a day off work. They can't not help family members. They have to be on their phone, or their phone has to be on.
right.
I've challenged a few people, hey, shut off your phone and just disappear for 3 days. Don't speak to anybody, because you're going to hear a
Mm.
voice inside of you. And you've been ignoring that person for a long time. And I would not have discovered anything about myself, who I am, or how to stand my own ground, if I didn't do that.
It's super important.
Some people are
The cell
forced
phone.
to do that, you know, like certain
Mm,
circumstances in life will put you in a situation where you don't have a choice but to self-reflect.
oh
But,
yeah,
shout out to the people who can do that without being forced, because it's really hard to do.
it's
You think
it's
it's hard
very
to
hard
get up
to
and go
do.
to work?
Yeah,
It's hard to face yourself in a quiet room with just you and that
Wow.
person. It's one of the hardest things to do.
that's that's
Sometimes
why
you're
we
like,
have so much.
yeah, it's you and that person in the room, you and yourself in the room, and you automatically want to call somebody. Can someone come over? I can't be alone here with myself. It's
Yeah,
like, this is who I
that's why
am.
we
Oh
have so much
no.
distraction. That's why we have so much distraction. That's why we
Period.
have TikTok and Reels and YouTube Shorts and these videos that are like, get my attention, get my attention, get my attention. Why? Because you want to focus on other things. You don't want to focus on this. You don't want to come and have an internal conversation and look at what's going on inside you. Instead, you want all this stimulation and all this distraction and go, 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 go. What's the next thing? Let's go to a concert. Let's do this. Let's do that. Oh my God, let's call this person. Let's go hang out. No, 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 no. Stop it. Stop all that for a second. What's going on in here? Why do you need all this stimulation? What are you running away from? You're
Well,
running away
10
from
years
something.
ago,
You're,
when I started creating music, I wanted to create and invent something new. And I had to really think back, like, to the beginning of time. And this was before, like, we even had TikTok. This was like
mm,
Instagram, Facebook were definitely up there. So it was already starting to get noisy everywhere. And I'm
right.
like, okay, well, how was the airplane created? I'm like, these guys were sitting on a hill. There was nothing there, just air and sunlight. And the thoughts came to mind. They came to mind and
Mm,
developed themselves. How can you do that when you're staring at your phone? How can you do that when you're watching TV? You can be
mm,
inspired, but you can't create a plane like that. You cannot create a flying machine watching TV. You literally have to be on that hill and just have nothing. Because
mm.
without loss, without nothing, you can't have inspiration. Inspiration comes from nothing. You make something out of
Inspiration.
nothing. That is inspiration.
Inspiration comes from being in an empty space and letting that
Yes.
come to you. The key is you have to be void.
Yes.
Things can't come to you when you're distracted and you're doing a million things to have fun and feel good. All that stuff, all that noise, once all that dies out and this space is void, there's nothing. That's when those great things can come to you. You can't fill a cup that's already full. You have to pour out what's in the cup and then fill it, right? So that's what we need to do with our minds. You need to pour all that out. Garbage in, garbage out, right? So if you're pouring garbage in there, stop doing that for a second, right? You don't even have to go read a positive book or any of that stuff. Just be alone. I'm a huge fan of silence. I've
Yes.
gotten I get in at least a good solid hour of silence by myself every day. Maybe it's 15 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the afternoon. Sometimes it's 2 hours. It just depends on the day. But in those silent moments is when I can connect with my own thoughts for a second. You know what I mean? And then I really understand what my thoughts and my opinions and the way I feel things should be, or whatever that is. Because if you constantly have things coming into your brain and you're constantly stimulating yourself, You don't know what you like. You don't know who you are as a person because you're always getting all this input from other people. If you stop doing that for a second, then you can find your own identity because you're letting all that stuff just push all that to the side and you're letting yourself just think and process the world
Yeah.
as you
That's
see it, not as
influence
other people
versus
see it.
inspiration. One is influence, one is inspiration.
Mm.
I like to inspire people, but my inspiration comes from me. It comes from what we're talking about, that void. It does not come from the influencers.
110%.
I don't want to influence anyone. I want to inspire.
Mm.
Like, I don't want you to copy me. I want you to know how I got here. That's all.
Mm. I don't want you to copy me. I just want you to know how I got here. I like that. That's super cool.
Thank you.
Like
Let's finger snaps.
Finger snaps, gotcha. You know what's funny? We're in the age of people wanting to be famous for the sake, like, I want to be famous for being famous. You know what I mean? Just a guy that